Do not attempt to adjust your set. This is a streaming freedom video bulletin. It cannot be stopped, and it is the only free voice left on the net. Hello friends, and welcome back to the channel. For today's Skyrim mod showcase on the PS4, we're going to be taking a look at a mod that allows us to pretty much relocate any NPC that we are friendly with to a new home. Now, before getting any further into the video, you should know that this is just a basic tutorial on how to use the mod. That is because the mod description is somewhat complicated, and even though I've had this mod for a long time myself, even I haven't used all of the features. I can, however, give you a basic tutorial on how to use the mod to be able to relocate NPCs that you are friendly with to a new home, but please keep in mind that I could make some mistakes along the way. Also, it needs to be said that this mod should not be used on any NPCs that give quests, because if you do, you will break the quest. If you decide that you must use this mod on a Quest Giving NPC, make certain that the quests are completed before choosing to do so. With that said, let's see how to find today's showcased mod. So using the search function, type in RELOCATE NPC to the search bar. That's going to make several mods come up. Now, the first one that comes up is a sample house for Relocate NPC. It's not the mod itself. The mods that you are looking for, however, are located next to it, which this is one I'll be showcasing, but there's also a Japanese version as well as a French version of the mod. So the mod that we'll be looking at is this, which is called PS4 Relocate NPC Your New Home. It's by the mod author uniSL, and the mod description in part reads, "You can give a new home place to your family and almost all NPC that you can speak to. They will start to live at the place where you assign. This mod is similar to My Home is Your Home on Xbox and PC. Now this is very important. Never use this mod on any Quest NPC. This mod's AI has higher priority than other AI. If you assign a new home place to a quest-related NPC, this mod will mess up or destroy the quest. Don't use this mod on a quest NPC until the quest is completed. Load order is to place it where there are new location mods. This mod adds one new location called Lost Fairy Cave. Also, how to uninstall. If you are in an interior location, go outside. Save the game and uninstall this mod. Vacating the home places isn't so required, but is still the best way of uninstalling. And to enable the dialogue the first time you have downloaded and installed this mod, you want to save your game and then load that saved game to make the dialogue for the mod appear. Now there's a lot of information in the mod description that I don't have time to go over here, but as always, please, if you are going to download and install this or any mod, please read through the mod description in its entirety before choosing to do so. So, once you have downloaded and enabled the mod, saved your game, and then loaded that saved game, it's time to head to the new location called Lost Fairy Cave that's been added by this mod. To find it, head here to Falkreath, and if you move the cursor a little over to the left, you'll find the icon for the cave has been added right here. Now, it's been a while, but I do believe you are able to fast travel right from the install of this mod. If for some reason you're not able to, though, it's still very easy to find as the icon is added in between these two right here on the map. In any case, I'm going to go ahead and fast travel this time to Lost Fairy Cave. So, this is the location that's been added by the mod. Now, one thing to keep in mind when you come here is occasionally you will get attacked outside of the cave. There are some enemies sometimes around here that will attack. So that's just one thing to keep in mind that can't be helped. In any case, what we need to relocate NPCs is located inside the cave, so let's head in now. So this is the inside of Lost Fairy Cave, and when you come in here, you'll find that there are some little fairy animals around. These are different ones that you can pick. You can pick either the fairy netch, or if you don't want to use these guys, you can come over here and you'll also find some other water-based ones like these fairy mud crabs up here. And there are all kinds of different types of fairy animals that you can choose from. There is a location to be able to access up there that is located over this way. And really it's kind of set up for like any type of area you might want to move. So here we have some little fairy hares that you can choose and access. Next to them are some little fairy foxes that like to create a mess in your home. Over here is some little fairy chickens. And then coming over this way, we also have some kind of like spooky ones. So we have a fairy skeever that's located here, as well as we have, the fairy spiders, which are located right here. And finally, some fairy skeletons located here. So if you have more like a gothic area, you can choose one of these guys instead if you would prefer over something cute like, say, a rabbit. Now, there's one other fairy animal in here that you see Lydia is standing by. These skeevers are blocking me. That's this deer right here. This is the house fairy mother. Now, she is the only one that you're not able to assign a new location to. She has to remain here. She is the one that manages all of these little fairy animals that are around that you move into the settlement. So I'm going to pick this little fairy hare right here because we need it to move to the location where we want the NPC to be moved to. So speaking with it, you'll have two options here. This one here which says, do you want a new home? As well as another option for the family that asks if you would like to become the family's fairy. That option can be chosen once we move it to the new location. So I'm going to choose the first option, which is, do you want a new home? Choosing that option will bring up the following. Now, because I already have some active house fairies in one of my modded homes, I have the option to switch this one with one of them. I've never used that before, however, so I don't know exactly how it works. But the options that you will get the first time that you have installed the mod are directly underneath it, where it says I will lead you, and it gives several numbers here. So since I already have some active settlements, the first few are missing, but I have the ones that you see here. And there are quite a few of them. Let me go ahead and I forget how many it is. I'll scroll on down and we'll take a look. Yeah, there's 30, as well as an option to cancel out if you change your mind on choosing this fairy. So I'm going to go ahead and select, let's see, Settlement 6. That is going to make this fairy now be known as Settlement 6. So choosing the option, you'll see it pops up that we have Settlement 6, and then we have some empty spaces here where we can assign an NPC. So now that Settlement 6 is assigned to us, it will follow us wherever we will go. So next we need to find a location where we want to move the NPC to and have the fairy animal placed there. So what I always do after I leave the cave is I just make certain that the little fairy animal is following me. They can be somewhat hard to spot sometimes because of the way they are, so let's see if I can find where the little rascal is at. Yeah, there it is, right there. Okay. So as you can see, it is located right here. It is following me. So you could either go to any of these locations on foot if you wanted to, or you can fast travel. It is following, so it will work like Lydia does and just, follow wherever you go. So let's go ahead and bring up the map. Now, you can move NPCs wherever these animals are placed, so if you wanted to move them in, like, say, to somewhere in Riverwood, you could do that. Move them into, say, a vanilla home or a modded home. For me, myself, I'm going to go to, heck, let's just go to Dragon's Blood Castle. That is one of my favorite modded homes. Okay, so we're outside of Dragon's Blood Castle. And I just want to make certain that the little fairy animal did follow me here after fast traveling. And yeah, there it is. Like I said, they're kind of hard to see, but it is right here. So it will definitely follow me inside, and we'll go ahead and place it in there to set up the next part of the mod. Okay, so once you have got to the location where you want to have the NPC moved to, make certain that your little fairy animal is with you. Now, what is best to do is to find if the location does have, like, say, a bed, is you want to place the fairy animal next to the bed. Think of wherever the fairy animal is as kind of like the point of return for the NPC. They will go into other areas. Like, for example, I have a fairy rabbit over there that is for the rabbit that you see there, Juliet, placed near that bed. So I'm going to set this fairy animal to this group of beds over here. So what I want to do is wait till the little rascal comes in. There it is. And now what I want to do is I want to set the little fairy animal as close as possible to one of these beds over here. As you can see, it kind of has a mind of its own, but I'm going to kind of maneuver and get it to follow me close to one of the beds. There is an option once you have it placed to be able to ask it to stand in a new location, but it don't work very well for me. And keep in mind the way that's facing is the way that it's going to be set, so I want it kind of facing out to me if it would stand still. So it might take me a minute here to kind of maneuver and get it to face the way that I want. Again, there is another way to do this, but it just doesn't really work for me. Okay, so choose this. Stay here, your new home place. So that has now set settlement 6, which is this fairy animal, to this location. And now it is ready to have NPCs move in here. Now there are some options that you can choose speaking to the fairy animal before the NPC is placed with it, but there's not much that you can do. You can ask it to stand at a new point that you indicate. That's after you have placed it. And I'm not going to choose that because, again, it doesn't work very well for me. But I do have an idea. Oh, Lydia. So it works the same as a follower. Let's pretend that Lydia is the fairy animal.
What is it?
So, like, you can ask a follower to go to a location, and they normally will, with the exception of Lydia, because she never listens to me. That's the same way that it works for the fairy animal.
Lead on.
So besides that option, most of the options aren't really available until you have an NPC or NPCs assigned to it, but you can ask it to come with you, and if you do that, it sets it back following you again, like before. So if you wanted to, say, move it to a different location, you can ask what does it have, and that brings up this right here, which is like item storage. So for example, I could store this amber sword with it. Go ahead and do that, and then if you choose the option again, you'll notice that it now has my amber sword. But I'm going to go ahead and take that back because anybody that's watched Monty Python knows, yeah, don't give a sword to a rabbit. So besides the option to be able to store items with the fairies, we also have this option. I'd like to manage the settlements. Now I can't actually use this yet. That's because this would be used to manage whatever settlement this fairy is assigned to. In this case, settlement 6, and the NPC or NPCs that I have assigned to it. For right now, I'm going to choose no, never mind, to back out. Another option we have if we decide that we don't want to have the fairy placed here after we have is, do you want a new home? This works the same as it did in the cave, where we can unassign it from this location, take it to a new location, and then assign it there. Finally, we have family. Would you become my family's fairy? So this is the option where you can choose to have it, like if you want this as your family's home, you can ask it to become the family fairy. Keep in mind though, I've never used this option, but the way that I understand it, they won't actually recognize that they're in a location like this. They won't comment that they're in Dragon's Blood Castle, for example. So now that we have the settlement placed where we want to have the NPC, it is time to actually assign an NPC to this settlement. For that, I have a modded follower NPC that I want to assign here. So I'm going to go now and go find where she is at. Okay, so the NPC that I want to move into Settlement 6 is located here. Her name is Kiana. She is a modded follower. Now for me, she's a little buggy. She doesn't actually have the follower dialogue, but she'll work for what I need her for the demonstration of how to relocate an NPC. So go ahead and speak to the NPC that you want to move into the new location.
It's a fine day with you around.
And then you're looking for this option added right here. Would you like to move into a new place? Now, if you don't see this option when speaking with the NPC you want to move, it's either because they can't be moved or you're not friendly enough with them yet. So if you're not friendly with them, you'll have to either get friendly with them through the vanilla means of the game or use a mod, like for example I have Give Gold, which will allow me to give a gift to charity of giving her 1 gold, and that will make her friendly to me. However, since she already is friendly to me, I can go ahead and select this option. So I can ask her, would you like to move into a new place? Selecting this option
Is someone there?
will bring up the following. Now, depending on whatever settlements I have down, since I already had a few down before, even if I have NPCs assigned to a settlement, I can assign her to one of these if I have a free space. However, I want to go ahead and assign her to Settlement 6, which is the new location. So I'm going to choose S6, this place. So by selecting this, it will now ask to House Fairy is waiting or I changed my mind. So if you want to assign her, you'll say House Fairy is waiting. However, if you decide after talking to her that you don't want to assign her there, select the other option instead. I'm going to choose House Fairy is waiting.
I understand.
And so now Kiana is assigned to Settlement 6, and if I change my mind, I could select this option right here, which would unassign her from Settlement 6.
I'd better get going.
And she would then return to this location where I originally found her. And you can do that at any time. Even once they get to the new location, you can take and... She's stuck. Go on. Shoot. You can go ahead and unassign them either at the location speaking to them, the house fairy that they're assigned to, or the house fairy mother located in the cave. So let's say that you want to instead assign a follower to a new home. Now if the follower isn't already active as a follower, you can do like I did there with Kiana. But if it's somebody like Lydia, for example, let's pretend that Lydia isn't my spouse or my character's spouse, but just my follower. In order to assign her, I would first need to speak with her.
Still here.
And then I need to unassign her as my follower, tell her that we need to part ways. Once I've done that, then I need to speak to her like I would any other NPC and simply do like I did with Kiana to assign her to the location. After she's been assigned to the location, then I could go ahead and set her as my follower once again. So let's go ahead and catch up with Kiana and find a few things of interest when assigning an NPC to a new home. So you'll notice that Kiana is on her way. She's making her way to the new home. And if we want to check to make certain that she is indeed assigned to the settlement that we chose, we can go into our options, select Quest, select Miscellaneous, and here you'll notice that each of the settlements that I have has the characters that's assigned to them. So for Settlement 6, you'll see that Kiana is assigned there, as well as how many free slots I have for how many more characters can be assigned to that particular settlement. And keep in mind that you don't have to go back to the fairy animal each time. As long as you have a free slot, you can speak to whatever NPC and assign them to that settlement. One important thing to keep in mind is, as you can see, Kiana is making her way all the way to the location. Now, Dragon's Blood Castle is just a little ways off, but I don't know. She's protected by my mods, but if they would happen to get attacked or possibly killed along the way, you may want to take them there yourself, in which case you would need an item like, say, the Ring of Following, or a spell for multiple follower system, Charm, take them to the location, and then set them up there. One minor issue that you might encounter if you have the NPC go to the location themselves is what will most likely happen right here, and yeah, she got stuck. As you can see, this happens to Lydia quite often too. It's something about Dragon's Blood Castle, I don't know, but you'll notice that she's kind of looks like she's confused. She wants to go to the new location she's been assigned, but she just stopped here. I found a very easy fix for that. If you let them go on their own, is simply to go ahead and just use the wait option, which you could do at any time, and that should make her go ahead and spawn inside the castle. Okay, so as you can see, that fixed the issue. So now let's go ahead and head inside the castle and see how Kiana is doing inside of her new home. So Kiana could be pretty much anywhere here inside the castle. Think of where we put the fairy animal as kind of like their return point, but they will kind of go out and sandbox the area up to a certain radius. I don't recall exactly how far that is. I have a fire wolf that I have assigned downstairs and comes upstairs quite often, so I can see she's not in here currently with her animal, but she's definitely in here somewhere. So let's see if we can find her. Perhaps she's in here. No, but you'll see that Juliet is in here. Juliet sometimes will come in and, oh, actually, looks like, yeah, there she comes right there. So yeah, as you can see, she is going ahead and moving around the castle. Sometimes they'll go into rooms other than where they're assigned. They'll basically go ahead and just treat this like their own home and sandbox it. They'll interact with objects like chairs, the bars. If there's like meat, they'll get drinks, different things. So basically, like you see, like any other cat, she came in and is just making herself at home. And depending on the size of the home, you might find that they sandbox different floors. You might find them outside. Really depends on where you've placed the furry animal, what AI mods you're using, size. Yeah, bark bark to you too. Uh-oh, I just realized something. I assigned the cat to live here with the dog. I hope they don't tear the place up chasing each other around. And that she's good with the furniture. So as you can see, Kiana is now in here. She will sandbox different areas of the home until the time that they go to bed, and that's why I have the fairy animal placed over near there. Now, if for some reason you decide that you want to unassign an NPC to a settlement after you've assigned them, it's very easy. One way is to go up to them, talk to them directly, and then choose this. It's time for you to go back. Telling Kiana this will unassign her from settlement 6. She'll then return to wherever it was that I found her, in her case the Bannered Mare. If you can't find the NPC, or if you have multiple NPCs assigned to the same settlement, a separate way that you could do it is to go to the fairy animal that the NPC is assigned to, speak with that, and then you want to select the option we saw earlier. I'd like to manage the settlement, and depending on how many settlements is assigned to the animal, pick the settlement that you want. So for me, I'm going to choose I want to manage this place, S6 for settlement 6. Then you want to choose this option. Could you tell Kiana to leave the place? This will unassign her the same as when we spoke to her. There is a separate option to set the fairy animal loose also, so be careful of that because you could end up turning loose more NPCs than you mean to. So this is the option here. Vacate this home place. This will unassign the fairy animal that you have assigned here. It'll make it go back to the cave, or at least I do assume so. I've never actually used the option. Then directly under that we have show location marker as well as hide location marker. This will make the NPC that's assigned to the settlement show up on the map. If you select the hide location marker, for example, it won't, but if you select show, then it will appear. So you just want to go over to miscellaneous, go ahead and set that as a quest, and then when it is set as a quest, if it would come on and toggle, try that again. There we go. Then select the settlement that you wish to see, and you'll see right here that Kiana is on settlement 6. As well, you can see the location for the ferry itself. Go ahead and turn that back off. Now, I'm not going to unassign her because I don't want her banging in my window to get back in. But in any case, Lydia, what are you doing? How much of that have you had to drink? In any case, there is one final way to be able to unassign them that we'll take a look at in a little bit. That's best if you have settlements all over the place. So as you can see, she is going to go ahead and turn in for the night. Now, she chose a different bed than where I placed the rabbit, which is fine as long as there is a bed available to her. I don't know if they always will choose a different one or if they'll just pick whatever particular one they like and keep that one, but as long as there is a bed for the NPC, then they will go ahead and turn in for the night. So, the final way to be able to unassign an NPC, best saved for if you have a bunch of NPCs living all over the place, is to visit the house fairy mother. For that, we need to return to the cave. So, the final way that I know how to manage the settlements, best saved for when you have a bunch of settlements, like say all over Skyrim, a bunch of different characters, and you don't want to have to go to them individually, is to come back here to Lost Fairy Cave, and we need to find the deer that we saw earlier in the showcase. She is the only deer that's in here. She is the fairy house mother. She is in charge of all the other little house fairies that manage the NPCs in this mod. So if we speak to her, we have the option here that says, I'd like to manage the settlements, and by selecting this, she has access to any and all settlements that we have placed down. So, I only have a few, but if you had a lot, the list would be longer. In any case, since I want to manage, say, settlement 6 and Kiana, then I want to choose this option. I want to manage this place and make certain that it says it is settlement 6. Now I'm able to ask Kiana to leave without having to speak to her directly or go there. As well, if I want to, I could even unassign the fairy animal from this place. I also have access to the other options. For example, I could choose to show or hide the location marker for those characters that are assigned to that settlement. Also, let me go ahead and show you real quick that Kiana currently is assigned to settlement 6. You can see right there in my miscellaneous. So just to show you that it does work, let's go ahead and again manage the settlement. Go back to settlement 6, and this time I will say, could you tell Kiana to leave this place? Now by doing so, I didn't get any notification, but if I come back and look, you will notice that now settlement 6 is completely empty. Kiana will now go back to the Bannered Mare where I found her in the first place. And you can do that with any NPC. Also, something to keep in mind with this is that sometimes the mod malfunctions and the NPCs that you have assigned, even if you did not unassign them, they will get unassigned. for whatever reason from the mod. If so, try to remember where they were at, or use a mod like Tracking and Summoning by Cyan49 to be able to locate them, so that you can assign them again to the settlement that you want to have them at. So with that, that brings us to the end of the showcase. Like I said, it's just a basic one. Hopefully I gave you a well enough look at it to be able to get an idea of how the mod works and if it would be right for you in your playthrough. Again, as always, if you're going to download this, please read through the mod description in its entirety. It has a lot of important information, including stuff that I didn't really cover, like the families, for example, because I didn't use that myself. In any case, thank you for taking the time to watch the video. I hope it helped you out. Take care.